Good evening. Okay, now, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's live interaction.
Hi,
all right.
Good evening.
Good evening. So, my name is Shruti, and we have...
I'm Ms. Nesika.
And we are here today to have an interaction with you all over the fascinating events that are going on in our sky tonight. Good evening, everyone. Okay, now, I know there's a Google form attached to this live chat. So I want all of y'all to keep every questions that you have in this Google form. Okay? And if you're lucky, as if we will do our best to answer. Okay? So put all your questions in the Google form and we will answer them after a short presentation. Nesika, should we start the presentation or should we what questions we should answer first?
Just let's answer a few questions and then we'll go for because we have
let's go on.
It's around like 400 plus students are eagerly waiting. So let's just answer a few questions and then
let's see.
Let's just give them a short intro now because we are new to them and they are also new to us. Why can't we do that first?
Oh, okay, you go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Hi guys. This is Nesika. I'm an astronomer and I'm currently in space. And I'm here for you with the an interaction with your field expert session. Okay. And with me I have Shruti ma'am. And as you know, I'm not very broad-minded or something, but I'm still interested in space and I love teaching. So this is what I do now currently. So Shruti ma'am, you can take over.
Oh yeah, and as Nesika just said, I'm Shruti. I'm interested in space and I love learning more about it. And I'm happy for the opportunity to teach every one of you about the current one. So I'm sure you must have heard this word a lot before, but there's something going on called the planetary parade. Have you heard about this? Tell me yes if you have heard in the chat.
Of course, they need to be more restless because it was a hyped one.
It is a very hyped one. Okay, so today we're going to learn about the planetary parade. And let me share my screen. Jessica, please tell me if you're here. See my?
Yeah, I'll assist you.
Yes. Okay, so today we're going to talk about planet parade and celestial events.
A moment, a moment. The screen is not visible. Or
Okay.
now it's visible. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about planet parade and celestial event. So I want students in the chat to tell me, what is celestial? Do you have an idea? Yes or no? Okay. So, Latika, what are the answers telling? Do they know what celestials are?
There's like yes, no, and everything. We don't get definitions right. Only it says
Okay, so celestial is basically everything that's related to the night sky. All the stars, planets, exoplanets, everything in the night sky or the in the sky itself, we are call them celestial. So I'm actually going to be talking about something very hot topic, very, very current, called the planet parade. But before we talk about the planet parade, let's talk about planets. Does everyone here know what planet is?
okay.
That's
they
okay.
know what is the red. Yeah, like
I'll
like a
just
space object or space
yeah. So
bodies.
how about I'll just give an answer, just like give them the answer. So a planet is basically one large round body. We call a sphere. We can say it's a sphere. We can say it's a large round body, like a ball, a very, very big ball. And they go around the sun in what we call fixed orbits. And the most important part about our planet is that it does not give out light. So if I have a light bulb with me, that gives out light. If I have the sun gives out light. But planets do not give out any light, but they bounce off the sunlight, or what we call reflect. They reflect the sunlight, and that's how we can see it. So both planets and stars occupy the night sky. But how can you tell if it's a planet or how can you tell if it's a star? That is very simple. To know a planet, you have to look for the the object in the sky that doesn't twinkle. Everybody knows this nursery rhyme, no? Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Do y'all know the nursery rhyme? Okay, what does the chat say? Let's wait for the chat to respond to the nursery rhyme.
Yeah, they are like it's a celestial body. They are just answering from the slides. You know what is a planet? But
Okay.
I'm getting curious. Do you say that planets are also similar to stars and we see them every day in the sky?
So we do see planets every day, but we don't see them every day. We can see them several times. So let's say if we break up the year, we can say we see it most of the year, but we can't see them every day.
Okay.
Does that make
but
sense?
It's fascinating to know like planets
Yes.
also stars and we see them at the night sky.
Yes. So one thing that's very fascinating about planets, like our ancestors, when at night they'll rest, they'll look up to the sky and they'll see many stars. But then they'll see these certain stars, which are actually planets, they'll see them wander. And when they see them wander, they gave those stars a new name, and they call them planets. So it comes from the Greek word planete, which actually means wanderers. Literally, actually means wanderers.
Oh man! Well then, the planets were roaming. They were wandering in the sky.
That's what it looks to us on Earth.
Okay.
To us on Earth, it looked like the planets were roaming in the sky. All the other stars were fixed. Every other object in the sky were fixed. But the planets kept moving. So to for y'all to have a better look, I have kept these three slides together where I want y'all to look at the Mars and Jupiter. I want you to look at Mars and Jupiter. And this is from 1 month apart on the same day at the same time at the same location. So you can see the date and you can see the time. The time is not changing, and you see only this number. This one will change. Okay, but I want you to see, look at Mars and Jupiter, and then I will ask you all at the end one question, and you all have to answer. So, did you all see Mars and Jupiter move in the sky? Huh?
Yeah, they were able to understand, like we have seen the planets in the sky, and they are like pure like that. We're able to spot Jupiter because it's directly above our head.
Yes.
They're able to know.
So this is why the planets, we call planets, because you can see them move you can see them, you can see it properly move. And thus the planets are called planets. Now that we know what planets are, let us talk about planetary alignment or planet parade. Actually, that's what you must have heard it of in the news, right? You must have heard all about this planet parade that's going on. And planet parade is actually when all the planets in the solar system can be seen from in a straight line from us. So on Earth, we can see it as a straight line. And I have one question. If we can see it as a straight line, does it mean that the planets are like this? Do we have yes in the chat or do we have no in the chat? Are the planets like this in a planet parade? Okay, so I'm seeing many people saying no and yes, but there's quite a bit of students telling this, a lot of yes. There's quite a bit of people saying yes. And actually, the planets, they do not look like this at all in the solar system. They're not in a straight line. In fact, the planets actually look like this. As you can see, Venus is not directly in front of Earth. Mars is a little bit to the side of Earth. Saturn, Neptune, not in a straight line. But to us on Earth, they look like they are in a straight line. And that is a very fascinating thing. So why do you think that they don't appear in a straight line? And I think, what's the reason for this? Like, why don't they appear in the straight line?
Why they need to be? Because we know about the every planets revolve and they rotate. So depending on their speed of revolution around the sun, how fast they are moving around the sun, it depends. So they vary.
Yes, that's correct. So it depends on the planet's speed. And actually, the planets have been in this position for so many years, billions of years, and they are very stable. If one planet moves out of the way, what catastrophe can we expect?
We'll be losing a planet.
That may be a terrifying possibility.
Yeah.
So there are many types of planetary alignments or planetary parades. So each of these alignments have a name. So we have a mini planetary alignment, which we have 3 planets being together. A small one will only have 4. Large one will have 5 or 6 planets. And a great planetary alignment or a great planetary parade or full will have all 7 planets plus Pluto. Not all the time, but sometimes. And
do you think Pluto is a planet, ma'am?
No, I
added it in the planetary parade.
Well, I don't think Pluto is a planet. That's because, as we recall earlier when we were talking about what planets are, Pluto doesn't have a fixed orbit. No, it crosses into Neptune's orbit. And there have been signs that there are other planets, other objects in Pluto's path. So Pluto doesn't fulfill all the requirements for a planet, but Pluto has an entire new what's the word? Assignment, which is that it's a dwarf planet and it's the largest dwarf planet for now.
Okay,
So
that's fascinating.
now I think I have a question for the students. I want them to tell me, based on what they have heard in the news, what type of planetary parade did we have currently? So what type of planetary parade or planetary alignment did we have currently? What do you think, Nesiga?
Let's wait for the students' reply. No, I think so. It may be large, but let's wait for them.
Okay. So actually, I'm seeing some large. I'm seeing a small. I think I saw a full.
Yeah. So
Okay, so let's see. Those who are saying large are actually correct. Currently, we are having a large planetary parade or planetary alignment because we have 6 planets. However, while February is coming, we are in February, the mid-February and all is coming, we are going to have a great planetary parade because we have all 7 planets in a straight line.
Yeah.
Okay, so what planets, we already saw what happened in January. So we saw the planets that have appeared. We had Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And this is more or less how it looked in the sky. So we usually had Venus, Saturn, and Neptune in the western sky near the sun when the sun is setting. Uranus and Neptune is like above our heads. And meanwhile, Mars has just woken up, came above the eastern horizon, the east side where the sun rises usually. However, in February, we are going to have the great planetary parade where we are having Mercury joining. So all the 6 planets that were there part of January's planetary parade will be there alongside with Mercury. And this time the sky looks very different. By the way, speaking of wanderers, can you see the difference, Nisiga?
Yeah, like within a month, they move a lot.
It's moved a lot. Mercury has appeared at the west. It doesn't come from the east. It just appeared at the west. Mars is directly above head.
Yeah, I'm just fascinated why they roam this much. Why can't they just stay in a place?
I don't think that's their nature.
Yeah.
So in February, you'll be able to see Saturn, Neptune, and Venus at the western horizon. We do not encourage to look for Mercury because Mercury is too close to the sun. So for our students' safety, we don't encourage them to look at Mercury because it's too close to the sun and it can cause sun eye damage. So please do not look for Mercury in the February's planet parade. But Jupiter, Mars, and Uranus is moving a bit closer to the horizon. It's no longer directly above us. Jupiter is still above us, but Mars has a higher point compared to Jupiter.
Okay. So we'll be able to see all the planets, ma'am? Like all of them?
Well, actually, yeah, you can see all of them, but you can't see all of them with your own eyes. The planets you can see with your own eyes are Mercury, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn, the ones that are closest to us. And if you remember, Nesiga, these are the planets that we have known for centuries and forget centuries, for thousands of years we have known about these planets.
Great. They were
Yeah.
Yes, still.
Yeah. They were wandering then, they're still wandering now. But for thousands of years, we have known about these planets because we can see these planets with our own eyes. However, to see Uranus and Neptune, you need a telescope. And you cannot use a small telescope. You need a 12-inch telescope. That's the smallest telescope you need to see Uranus and Neptune.
Oh, great.
Okay, so you need a pretty powerful telescope to see the most distant planets from us.
Okay, so based on the distance, but yeah, we know like Uranus and Neptune are the farthest ones that we have. So
Yeah, so
based
you
on
know
that,
that's the
we need
farthest.
something.
Oh, I see someone asking why won't we see Neptune? We'll be able to see Neptune, but you need a telescope to see Neptune, and you need a pretty powerful telescope to see Neptune. So, I'm sure that the students will love to see how the planets look through a telescope. Nesika, what do you think?
Yeah, they'll be obviously excited because we know how we look. We now have an idea how they look from our naked eyes. Now let's take
Yeah.
it to the next step. Let's see how it looks through a telescope. Yeah.
And I think the students will be fascinated to know that these images, these photographs of the planets were taken in a city. And we know you don't get to see the best sky in the city, yet with a telescope, we could take these photos in a city. So for sure, you'll be able to see Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn in the city with your own eyes, when you know where to look. And we will tell you after this photographs. Okay. So this is Mars, and Mars has this distinct red color. It is why its nickname is Red Planet, is it not, Nesika?
Yeah, because it looks red. But why does this actually looks red, man? Can you just explain that?
Well, it is because of all that iron oxide it has in the soil.
Oh,
No,
like
it has so much of iron oxide that it's looks very red. And I won't lie, if it was not for another planet, Saturn would be my favorite just because it's red in color.
Oh,
Saturn, Mars.
Mars.
I gave away my favorite planet. Now, off to the big brother. So Jupiter is our biggest planet in the solar system, and in this photo, we did not get to capture its iconic great red spot.
Oh.
Which is a tragedy because that is one storm that has been going on for 400 years. Can you imagine having a storm that just rages for 400 years?
It's not
However, we have this second most iconic feature of Jupiter, which is its bands. So we have different colors of light and dark bands, and Jupiter, as we know, is the biggest planet in our solar system, and we call it the big brother.
Yeah, okay, a minute, ma'am. They tell Jupiter is a failed star. What's your thought on it?
No, Jupiter cannot be a failed star because it is actually too light to be a star.
Actually, the thing behind it is, as far as I know, it's not like a failed star. The Jupiter we may consider it as a ball of gas, and a star to become a planet, it needs a process. We tell it as a nuclear fusion. So the Jupiter has everything, but the thing is, it's not initiating its nuclear fusion process. So it's not going to be a star. So what happens is the Jupiter is still a planet. So to move towards the star or to start its life cycle of a star, Jupiter needs to start its new fusion process. So is it fascinating?
Yeah, that's actually very fascinating that Jupiter, just because there's not a fusion going in its core, it's not a star. But also it's not a failed star because a failed star would still do not have a fusion. But Jupiter is a planet.
Yeah.
Jupiter is a planet.
Star. Yeah.
It's not a star. It's not a failed star. It's a planet. It's the biggest planet in our solar system.
Of course.
Then we have Venus. And Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system. And I think I saw a student asking, why is Venus the hottest planet in the solar system? What do you think, Nesika?
Even I get curious because obviously we know Mercury is closest to the sun, but still, how come Venus is our hottest star?
So Venus is actually the hottest planet because it has a lot of gases that traps heat. So these gases love heat a lot that they hug it and they don't let it go. And the more heat that enters, the more heat stays with the gas because the gas is like, oh my God, more toys for me to play with.
Do you mean the greenhouse gases?
Yes, the greenhouse gases, which we have to ensure, we have to make sure that it doesn't come. We don't have the we don't let that happen too much in our environment. Otherwise, we may end up like Venus. Can you imagine living in Venus?
No, we can't bear our summertime itself. Why to be on a hot
Yes.
planet? Yeah.
Yes. Then I have a question for the students. I said that Venus has like all planets have to be round. But do you see Venus? Venus is not round.
Yeah, it's in an odd shape. Why it is so?
It's very odd shape. But there's a question which I have to ask. This shape is familiar. At least to me, it's very familiar. I see it almost once a month in the night sky. Don't you?
Students.
Huh?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you see the this kind of shape in the night sky? I see somebody has noticed Venus is half.
Yeah, they are just trying to get it.
Yes, someone has pointed out. Pallavi Putraj, you're correct. You see the moon having a similar shape like this in the night sky. And that is because of phases. So we have all heard about phases of the moon, and Venus also has phases. So this is a phase of Venus, and we got to capture it like this.
So what do you tell this phase? We know it's similar to moon phases. We know some of the moon phases, like we tell it as gibbous phase or crescent or something. So where does this phase like? Can you just tell about it now?
At this moment, I cannot, and it's a bit out of the syllabus. So I will come to this a bit later.
No, maybe we could take like it's more than half. We can tell it as a gibbous phase or something like when we compare it with the moon.
Yeah. Then we finally have my favorite planet in the solar system, Saturn.
Wait,
and Saturn
was Mars.
Mars would have been my favorite planet if Saturn did not exist.
Oh, why?
Because of Saturn and its beautiful rings.
Okay.
Saturn is my favorite planet. Actually, it used to be Pluto, but now Pluto is no longer a planet. So it's now Saturn.
Okay.
So Saturn is my favorite planet because of its beautiful rings. And that's the most distinctive feature of Saturn. However, did you notice, actually many people mistake Saturn being the only planet in our solar system with rings?
Oh, is it so? Yeah.
They mistake, but that's a mistaken assumption. Recently, we have discovered that Uranus, Neptune, and Jupiter have rings.
Yeah,
though their rings their rings cannot be seen because they don't reflect much light. Saturn's rings, though, reflects light very well. Hence why we are able to see them. So now we have come to the end of the planetary parade. So let me just go looking for some questions in the live chat.
Yeah, I may just pick few questions for you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, of course. Now there was a question like there was a question like we told like the Uranus, Jupiter also has rings. So can you just tell the difference how the Saturn's rings and these rings are different?
So Saturn's rings is that Saturn's rings reflect the sunlight very well. All the other planets, their rings cannot reflect the sunlight well. Hence why we are not able to see their rings unless we use telescopes. And we use very powerful telescopes, okay? We don't use the normal, everyday amateur astronomer telescopes. We use the telescopes from an observatory. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. And then there is another interesting question. Like, you discussed about the planetary parade. Can you tell at what time and how long is the February planetary parade is going to be?
So the February planetary parade is actually going on the whole month. And actually, it's actually closer to the end of the month where Mercury will be more visible. Again, I do not encourage the students to go and look out for Mercury because it will cause damage to your eyes. And we do not want you to damage your eyes.
Yeah.
So do not look out for Mercury. So you can just look out for all the other planets. And like one final question before we go to the next event.
Yeah, I'll just give you a, yeah, there is like a one interesting question. Like we always come across this question, and the question is, what is Big Bang Theory? What happened to it? And what is it? Is there Big Bang Theory true? It's from Vivan, a student.
Okay, so one thing about Big Bang is that it needs an entire class for it, which we can't really give because we are having a different topic in mind. But what I can say about Big Bang is that many people assume that it's an explosion, but it was not an explosion. It was just an expansion. So what I encourage students to do after this session is to go and pick up a balloon and take a pen and draw on the balloon. So draw many small stars close to each other. Then I want you to ask mommy or papa to blow the balloon, and then you can see the expansion that occurs and the stars moving away. So this is just a visual reference that you can use to understand what the Big Bang looked like. And it's a expansion. It's not an explosion. It's an expansion that occurred, as we say, in the beginning of time, as we now know it. Okay, but the more information about that is a bit too advanced, so we shall not go into that.
Yeah.
But now I think I should give the floor to you, Nesika.
Yeah.
Do you have something interesting to tell the students all about?
Yeah, now like it's not I'm taking over. Let's just discuss about the next part of the interaction. So as we already discussed, it was like the first thing was about the planet parade. And I think so students, ma'am, have given you a lot of stuffs regarding it and many fascinating facts regarding the planet parade. Now let's move to our second part. It's the celestial events. So I want you guys to just, it's not like a repeated question. I know you guys have an idea what is celestial events. Can you just tell me once again, what do you think celestial events are? In the meantime, I'll just present my screen.
Oh, Nisika, while you're getting the screen presented, I see one student asked, are Saturn's rings disappearing? And actually, currently, Saturn's rings are not disappearing. It is just that our view of Saturn is changing. And because of that change in their view, Saturn's rings just look to be disappearing. They're not actually disappearing. Okay, so you don't have to worry. Saturn's rings is not going anywhere yet.
Good.
Okay, Nesika, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Just tell me the screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes, the screen is visible.
Yeah. So as I told you, we have seen so many things about the planets, the planetary parades and everything. So now I'll give you a simplest definition of what are celestial events. So the celestial events are something, we know something like celestial. Celestial is a word which is always related to the space. Okay, the space related words contained, we use them, and the space related terms or the terminologies is what we use as celestial. So we tell them as celestial objects, celestial events, celestial occurrences. There are many in that. So what we tell, like I told you so many things. I'll tell you one by one what is it. So celestial bodies or celestial objects are something like the objects that are in space. So like in space, can you guys just tell me what is actually our solar system and what are the things present in our solar system? And one more thing, do our stars present in the solar system or they are outside the solar system? What do you guys think? I'll give you some time. Can you just tell me where are our stars and what are the objects present in our solar system?
Okay, so let's see.
Yeah. Okay, can you just help me out in this with Shruti ma'am? What are their?
No, I'm not saying actually. Okay, so I see planets. Many students are telling there are planets in the solar system. There are asteroids. One person has said there are planets, asteroids, and the sun is in the solar system. And one student is telling in response to, I believe, the question of the stars is that they're outside the solar system.
Okay, so yeah, like they are nearing the answer. The one thing that is what is in the solar system is that this the objects that are under the sun, the objects that are actually under the sun's gravity. Okay, like we have our sun and we have our planets, the asteroids and etc. Those are actually under the sun's gravity. So we tell them as they come under the solar system, our sun's family. But what is the case with the stars? They are actually outside our solar system. They are in this outside our solar system. They are in the space. So those objects, or all we call it as the celestial objects or the celestial occurrences. Okay, in the sense, anything. Have you guys seen about a shooting star or anything? Have you ever seen?
So I've not seen a shooting star. I've tried once to see a shooting star, but I think I missed it.
Yeah, but obviously, no, we are actually getting fascinated. Like we have something like it's a good thing, and if we wish something, it will happen. And
Yeah.
those
Maybe
are
I
the
wish
like,
upon a
events.
shooting star.
Yeah, those are like the events or occurrences that are visible in the sky, and we are able to see it through our naked eye and also on the earth. From the earth, those events or the occurrences that we see in the sky are all called as the celestial events. They may include the meteor showers. Meteor showers are like a rain of shooting stars, eclipses, and obviously now we saw about the planetary parade. What do you think planetary parade is? Is it a celestial event or not? Yes or no?
So I have my thoughts, but I shall give it away to the kids.
Yeah, let's just try what do they think.
Okay. I'm seeing a couple of yes. I'm seeing many yeses that it is.
Okay, it's good. So they were actually right. Planetary parade is also a celestial event because it's actually visible in the sky. And I'm sure that you guys know how to observe the planets because ma'am gave us some inputs regarding that to how to observe through the telescope and also what are the planets visible in the sky. So our planetary parade that's ongoing, everything are all called as the celestial events. So I told you about the meteor showers, eclipses, and etc. Now let's see what are the major types of celestial events that we have. Okay. So coming over to this is like something, there are major 6 types of the events, celestial events that we tell. The first one is what we call it as the opposition. Okay, opposition event is something where we have the earth at the center, behind it we have the sun, opposite to it we have a celestial object, maybe a planet. Okay, so can you see over here in this picture, we have this earth at the center, the other side, either side of it, one side we have the sun and the other side we have our Saturn. So we tell it as the Saturn opposition, like they are opposite to each other. Okay, they are opposite of us, so we tell it as the opposition of planets. So this is what we call it as a opposition event. And next is our conjunction, the most interesting event, and it will be so good to watch even the conjunction event. Conjunction is something like when 2 celestial objects are very closer to each other in the night sky.
Yeah.
So and I want to tell you guys one thing, you're so lucky. In today also, we are going to observe a conjunction. Okay, I'll tell you how to observe and what is the conjunction, what
so cool.
planets. Yeah, what planets are actually involved in the conjunction and everything. I'll tell you in the later part of this session. Okay, so conjunction is something where 2 celestial objects appear to be closer in the sky. They are in their closest part. So that is what we tell it as the conjunction. Next, this thing we are so familiar with. We know what is an eclipse. The shadow of the object falls on the other one. Like we know about the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse. So I don't need to give much. I think so. I don't want to spend much time on the eclipses. So one thing is about the solar and lunar eclipse. Solar eclipse is something like the shadow of the sun, like the moon blocks the sunlight, and we are able to see the shadow of moon on the earth. And similarly, lunar eclipse is something the shadow of the earth falls on the moon. It's like the sun is like the earth is in between the sun and the moon, where we get the lunar eclipse. And when the moon comes in between the sun and the earth, where it just overshades or it just blocks completely the sun, we get the solar eclipse. So we tell eclipse is also a celestial event. And one more thing about the eclipses are, there is actually a lunar eclipse that is going to be in the upcoming months, and I'll tell you what's special about it and everything. Okay. The next thing is the fourth type of celestial event is the occultation. Occultation is a simple thing where there are two celestial objects. In that, there is a bigger celestial object and the smaller one passes behind it. They're able to trace it. It like goes behind the bigger object and it disappears and appears from the other side. That is what we tell it as the occultation. So can you just get an idea? Occultation. So there will be two celestial objects. One will be bigger and the other smaller one. It's like it's going behind the bigger one and appearing on the other side. That is what we tell it as the occultation of planets.
Occultations do we usually see?
It's like occultations are actually not visible through our naked eye. We need some advanced telescopes or etc. to observe them.
Okay.
Over here, you can see the moon. I can see the Saturn. It's like about to occult. It's going to disappear behind the moon and it will be appearing on the other side of the moon. So this is how occultation occurs. Yeah. Next is the famous one, the meteor shower. We know the meteor shower, we have the shooting stars, like a collection of shooting stars. And we know about the meteors, meteorites, and etc. The space rocks that enter the Earth. And due to their burning up on the, we can tell like the meteor showers are like the shooting stars. So they enter the Earth's atmosphere. Due to the atmosphere, they burn up. And when we look in the sky, it's like a star or like a spark. We see them. That's our meteor shower. They are also one of the celestial events, and even they also appear at certain part of the year. They are actually based on the timings and everything. Okay. Next is our transit. Transit is something like a vice versa thing of the occultation, where a smaller object passes in front of a bigger celestial object. Over here, you can see the transit of Mars in front of the sun. Can you see? This is our sun and Mars is actually moving in front of the sun. So this is what we tell it as a transit. Yeah. Now, guys, can you just give me a thumbs up when you understand all these celestial events? Like I have just kept the major celestial events that occur in the sky.
Okay, Nesika, just the thing. I think you did a slip of a tongue, and I think it's because Mars is your favorite planet.
Oh,
Venus is the one that does the transit, right? Not Mars.
Yeah.
Mars cannot do a transit. Your favorite planet is coming after you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I'm obsessed with Mars, and I'm told it's my mistake, and I apologize. It's actually Venus. Yeah, that's Venus. Because only with the inner planets we'll be able to see that transit. So that's the Venus.
Yeah, so it's actually with the planets closer to the sun than Earth that we are able to see a transit.
Yeah, that we are like easier to observe, and then we are able to understand more about the transit and everything. Yeah.
So sorry, I just wanted to say, hey, I'm not the only one who likes Mars. You also.
I don't know, like the obsession, me. Okay. Yeah, I think so. The students are actually clear with the type of celestial events.
Okay.
Next, let's move to the next thing. The next thing, as I told you earlier, is about the lunar eclipse. And we know how a lunar eclipse happens. Like the Earth comes in between the sun and the moon, where the Earth's shadow is falling on the moon. So, like if we observe from the Earth, it looks like the moon is like disappearing, and there will be some red. It turns into red color, reddish orange color, and once again, as it moves, it will be appearing again. So it's like the Earth is shadowing it. So that is what we tell it as a lunar eclipse. And then one more interesting thing is, as I told you, we are able to see a conjunction today. And also we can see a lunar eclipse that is upcoming in the year. Mark your dates, it's on September 7th, 2025, where we can see a total lunar eclipse. So a total lunar eclipse is completely, the Earth's shadow will completely fall on the moon. The moon will be completely disappearing. And also the best time to view it is like around 11 to 11:05 p.m. It's like at the night time. And obviously, I know you guys will be sleeping, but still, if you don't want to miss this stunning celestial event, you have to wake up. And like maybe around 10:30 or 10:45, when you look at the sky, go to your terrace and look at the sky, look at the moon, you can see the total lunar eclipse. And the date is on 7th September 2025. So
Be
just
right back. I am off to mark it in my calendar.
yeah, like it's not too far. It appears like September is too far, but like waiting for a celestial event is more curious and more fascinating. So this is like one celestial event that's going to be amazing in the sky, and it's also easily observable through naked eye. So all you guys, I don't want you to miss this and try to grab this opportunity and observe the moon, the lunar eclipse. Okay, so you can just note down the time and everything. Next.
So everyone remember, it is 7th September this year at 11 p.m. to 11:05 p.m. is the best time to see it. Okay? We have warned you, we have reminded you, and you need to go and see it. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah. So these are like some other celestial events that are actually happening in the upcoming months of the year. Now I have just posted like some of the conjunctions and the oppositions, and I told you about this chart. There is a conjunction that is going to happen tonight, and that is the conjunction of 3 planets. It's the Saturn, Moon, and the Venus. So it's happening tonight. So, and guys, actually, can anyone tell what is the phase of moon today? Like moon is in what phase today? Like either it is in crescent or gibbous. Of course, I know it is not full moon. So just can you tell me?
Let me.
Yeah, lunar eclipse is also called as the moon's eclipse. Yeah.
Oh, let's see, guys. Mashirul is asking, like, you know how solar eclipse we have to use the solar glasses to see the sun and to see the eclipse? Do we need a lunar glasses for that?
No, it's actually completely safe to observe the lunar eclipse because there are no harmful radiations or anything that is emitted from the moon, because it's just the Earth's shadow that is falling on the moon, and we are able to observe the shadow from the Earth. So it's completely safe to observe a lunar eclipse, a total lunar eclipse. Yeah, can you get it? Okay. Now,
okay, I see someone saying crescent. I see some gibbous, some new full gibbous.
Okay.
Looks like many people are saying gibbous. One saying waxing crescent. Oh, we have someone who knows astronomy here.
Waxing crescent is so accurate, so appropriate answer. But still, as many as commented like gibbous, I'll tell you, based on the moon phases, we tell as 4 major phases. We know the new moon, where there is no moon in the sky at all. Second one is a crescent shape. Crescent shape is something we have it like a C shape or a banana shape. We tell it as the crescent shape. And the third one is a gibbous. Gibbous is something like where you can see the moon, more than half of it would be visible. So like when you see, you know about the half moon. Then when you see more than half of it appears, we tell them as the gibbous phase. And then we have the half moon. And the final one, we know about the full moon. So in this, today's moon is actually in crescent phase. And also it's like more like a line. You can just see a thin line of moon. Okay, it's like a crescent shape. So the moon is in crescent phase. And then the next 2 things, the Saturn and Venus, obviously we know the Venus is our brightest star, brightest planet. So in the sky, it will be appearing like a brightest star, though we know it is a planet. So you can see a conjunction. So they'll be so close to each other. Like you can see the Venus first, next the moon, and next you can see the Saturn. As we know, Saturn is the farthest, like Saturn is somewhat farther away from us. You can see like a faint dot in the sky. And in the later part, I'll tell you how to observe and how it really looks at the night sky and etc. So these are like the other conjunctions that are taking place. Next to this Feb 1st, we have a 6th March, we have the conjunction of Moon and Jupiter. So these are like the other conjunctions that are going to happen. We have it on a 23rd May, 12th August, and etc. So, and similarly, the oppositions. Oppositions are like they are exactly opposite to us. One side we have our sun, the other side we have the planet. So, oppositions are actually farthest part of our year. We could wait. We have to wait till September and November. So, if you guys just want, I'll give you a minute. You can just take a note of these conjunctions or the oppositions, and then you can just witness each and every celestial event that happens. Okay, I'll just give you a minute. A minute is enough, ma'am. Yeah,
Yeah, I think a minute will be enough for the students.
I think so. Most of these.
So while we're doing that, we can actually go and I'll check the chat and I'll see some questions while we wait for the students to.
Yeah, we can just take a look at the.
Okay,
live chat.
so one student is asking, what is the blood moon?
Okay, I think so. You, as you're more obsessed with the moon, you could answer this question.
So mostly the blood moon is nothing. Well, it's nothing like, I can't say green. It's just that the moon is red in color, hence the name blood. So that is just the blood moon. Okay, and I can see many students are asking about the time to see the conjunction today, time to see planetary parade. We are going to explain this very soon. Okay, just give us 2 minutes and then we'll explain. Okay, we're going to tell you what time to see the planetary parade, where to see the conjunction to see all that. Do not worry, we're going to tell that to you.
We'll take care of that, don't worry. Actually, the most thing, like as you told, the moon would be in red color. The thing is, I told you, like in the total lunar eclipse, there will be some time where the moon will appear reddish in color. That is what we tell it as the blood moon. That color, what you told was right. I just want to give a reference because we have the total lunar eclipse, right? So I thought that would
the lunar eclipse that's coming up. So that is actually when you said the blood moon, and we call that moon. So that's very spectacular and.
Yeah. So I think so the time is enough. And then now let's just.
I hope. Yeah. So we hope everyone has got the events that are going to happen this year, the major conjunctions and oppositions that will occur this year.
Yeah.
So we're now going to show how the.
Like I need to show one fascinating thing, like the last thing. As I only listed certain few celestial events, I'll just show them another interesting thing. This is what we tell it as a celestial calendar. And this calendar is specially for 2025. And then in this, I have actually put all the celestial events together and in which date it appears and what is the event. So when you see at Feb 1 to 30, this is where we have our planetary parade. As ma'am told, it's going to be a great one, a full planetary parade. And similarly, like when you come to September 7, you can see the total lunar eclipse and etc. So these are like some of the celestial events for the whole year, and I have piled it up and we have made the celestial calendar. So just can you imagine, ma'am, how many celestial event occurs in just a year?
That's a lot of celestial events, and I think that's something which we have to mention to everyone is that total lunar eclipse, not total lunar eclipses actually occur during the full moon. That's the only time when a lunar eclipse will occur. It will never occur in any other moon phase. They'll only occur during a full moon. So the coincidence of a full moon and a total lunar eclipse is not a coincidence. It only occurs during a full moon.
Yeah. So we have all these things. So I want all the students to just have a screenshot of it because it's the smart way. Have a screenshot of this celestial calendar. And then I want you guys to witness the maximum celestial events that you can see. Because it's a fascinating thing. Yeah.
Okay. So many people are asking, have told me that they have taken. And there's some people who are asking about the blue moon. Okay. We are going to take that. That's the last color I'm going to take. No, I'm not going to answer any question about green moon, yellow moon. Blue moon is the last question I'll take.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's a blue moon?
What do you guess, like a blue moon?
So for me, I think that's when the moon appears the second time in the month, in the calendar month.
Like a little appropriate, a second full moon. A full moon that appears twice in a month. The second full moon is the blue moon. It's not actually nothing. It has nothing to do with the color. The second full moon of the month is what we tell it as the blue moon. Yeah,
okay.
Am I right?
Yep, that is correct. So
now let's move to our interesting part. And now I want ma'am you to take.
So now I'm going to take over the floor and take over the screen. And I'm going to introduce all of y'all to this very interesting website called Stellarium Web. So this is a website that we use actually to go and do our stargazing. And just give me a second, I just made a mistake in my sharing. Okay. All right. So this is Stellarium Web, and you can use it actually if you also want to go and see when is the best time to see the night sky, to observe the night sky. So
just
one thing,
how to access it, like is it an offline or online mode, or how to get it?
okay, so yeah, sorry about that. There's actually an online mode that you can use with this link. I have given it to my colleagues so that they can share it in the chat.
Yeah, we'll just take care of it. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So
Then,
it's basically an application.
It's an online application that allows you to. It's a very basic application. It just tells you can change the location and the date and time. So there's actually an offline version, which is an app that you can use. You can also use it on your mobile phone as well as on the desktop or the laptop for the young ones in the chat. So there are two. There's an app that you can also use. And I suggest to download the app in the phone because that makes it more mobile. And you can actually take the phone with you when you're doing the observation.
It's more accessible, easier to buy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is much more easier. So we have, we can actually change the location of the space. So here we just click the bottom left corner. And I'll go and keep.
Ma'am, why do we change the location? Are the sky same everywhere?
No, the sky is actually not the same everywhere. So we are actually going to see it. I'm now going to a place further north than where this current location is. So I'm going to go for Ujjain. And Ujjain is on the Tropic of Cancer. Okay, so I'm going to use this location. And do we have it? Okay, so I'm not sure if the kids can notice, but it's a little bit darker. Ujjain seems to be a little bit
full
darker.
Screen mode, ma'am. You can just have the full screen mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Ujjain is like slightly bit darker compared to the previous location. And with the bottom right corner, you can change the date and time. So I'm going to stick with a 7 o'clock time. And you can see that it's a bit 7:30. Nah, we'll go for 7 o'clock. Because 7:30, I'm sure that this event, what I want the students to see, will be a bit harder to see.
Okay. Yeah.
So here you have the year, which if you want, you can change. This is next year, how the sky will look next year. This is how it looked.
Time traveling?
Yeah, not really, but kind of. This is how it looked last year. And this one is about the month. It tells us which month. So this will be March. So let's come to February. And look at the sky. It's changed quite a bit. Again, 1 month, the amount of difference.
Yeah. Then, like we know there, I can even see the planets change the position because they are the mantras. Yeah.
Then we have the days, the date. So you can change it accordingly. And you can see the slight change of the moon's position between the 2 days.
Yeah.
Then we have the time.
Yeah.
This says it's evening, and it's the 7 o'clock in the evening. If you click this, you can actually make the time move without you adjusting it. If you pause it, it will just stay on one specific time. So the first thing which we are going to talk about is the conjunction, the Venus, Moon, and Saturn conjunction. And we suggest everyone to go out at 7 p.m. to see this. Okay? So tonight? 7 p.m. is a good... Tonight, the conjunction takes place. Ms. Nasika just mentioned, it's going to take place today. So you can see it at 7 p.m. tonight.
Okay. So they are going to witness their first celestial occurrence.
Yes. So you can see that Venus will be very bright in the evening sky. It is actually the brightest object in the sky when the moon is not visible. So the moon is currently in a crescent shape, so it's not the brightest object. It's Venus. Then we have moon slightly below it, and we have Saturn nearest to the horizon. So we actually recommend that people go to the top of the apartment, to the terrace of the apartment, to see this event.
Okay, just we need to look at the open sky and then
We
try to
look at the
spot
open
the
sky and look towards the west where the sun just set.
around 7 o'clock.
Around 7 o'clock, you look at the west where the sun just set, and you will be able to see Venus, Moon, and Saturn for your for the conjunction event.
Yeah.
Now,
So, I'm excited. Yeah.
I'm going to assume everyone's excited, but you don't have to stop only for the conjunction. Y'all will also get the opportunity to see your very own planetary parade. So,
Really?
yeah, you get to see your own planetary parade. So we know that you have already seen Venus and Saturn as part of the conjunction. So now we have Jupiter and Mars left. Okay. The reason I'm not talking about Uranus and Neptune is that you need a telescope to see it, and you need a very powerful telescope. So not everyone will be able to see it. So I'll only talk about Jupiter and Mars. To see Jupiter, you have to look directly above your head. Okay, you just look directly above your head, and then you'll see a very bright object that is not twinkling. Remember, planets do not twinkle, only stars twinkle. So you can easily tell it is Jupiter because of it's not twinkling. And Jupiter will be directly above your head. Some of you may actually be lucky enough that you just have to look up and bang, Jupiter is directly above you, which is fascinating.
Yeah, you're able to see a planet. Yeah.
Then the final planet you can see is Mars. For that, you just have to turn to the east. Turn to the east, and you just have to look up and you see Mars. And you can know it's Mars because it is slightly red in color. Compared to all the other planets, all the other stars that may be seen, Mars is slightly red in color, so it's easier to identify. So tonight, 7 p.m., I want y'all to go to the terrace, go to the highest point that is safe to be. So go to the rooftop of your terrace, and I want y'all to look out for the planets and the conjunction. You'll get to see your very own planetary parade with your own eyes. And that is the
now
presentation.
we can go to the interesting part of the session. Now let's just
we can go to the part that the students are most interested in.
Yeah.
And that's
just answer
Google form, the answering the questions. And
yeah.
Again, as we mentioned earlier in the chat, in the interaction, please submit all your questions to the Google form for us to answer. Okay? So by the way, before we go into the questions, I have one question for the students. Are y'all interested? Are y'all excited to go and see your very own to see the conjunction with your very own eyes and the planetary parade? Okay, so I'm seeing somebody has asked like what date. You can actually see it today. You do not have to wait.
Yeah.
The conjunction and the planetary parade. You can actually see it today. You don't have to wait till tomorrow. You don't have to wait till next week. You can see it today. Yeah, you can see it in 2 hours' time, the conjunction with your own eyes.
7 o'clock.
And the planetary
7 o'clock, everybody go to your terrace or to an open sky, look into the sky, you can find the conjunction.
Yes.
Over time goes, you can see all the other planetary parade too. You can see the alignment of planets.
Yes, and those who want to know about the app's name is Stellarium. I'm seeing many students also mention it in the chat. Okay. So, Saran, you can actually see the planets. Remember, what I showed this thing, you can actually still see the planets. They will just be a little bit hard to see.
Like, yeah, I came across a good question. Like long back, I saw it was a kind of like, what are Saturn's rings made of?
Saturn's rings are made of usually ice. That is what we know, but we are not 100% sure.
They are like the frozen particles over
Yeah,
there.
they're frozen particles that reflects the sunlight.
Sunlight. We can tell it as the frozen space rocks or space dust. They're actually frozen in state.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we are going to like answer the questions that are in the Google form. So
Yeah.
if any more questions, please keep it in the Google form.
Yeah. I'll just have a look on the live chat also. I'll
Yep.
just see if there is any other questions. Yeah, you can go to a ground, like an open space where you can see the sky, the maximum part of the sky, to a terrace or to a ground where there are no tall buildings, not too much of buildings. You can just go to a higher place.
So let's see. Arna from 2B's asked how many days it'll take to travel to the moon. So Arna, that's actually depends on which vehicle you're using. So if you were an Apollo 8 astronaut, it'll take you 3 days. If you're an Apollo 11 astronaut, it'll take you 4 days. So it depends on which vehicle you're using to travel to the moon. If you take a plane, it's like 20 plus days.
Yeah. One question I get is what are the other dwarf planets? As we already discussed, we know about the Pluto.
Then we have Haumea. We
Eris.
have Eris. We have Makemake. And we have Ceres.
Ceres. Yeah, like that's
so there are 5 dwarf planets in the solar system.
And this interesting thing is Ceres is actually in our asteroid belt. Yeah.
Yes, Ceres is in our asteroid belt.
Yeah. The other things are actually like beyond Neptune. The other 4 of it.
The other 4 dwarf planets are beyond the orbit of Neptune, beyond Neptune.
Yeah. One more question. I'll just go with you, Shrutina. How does Jupiter block asteroids if it is made of gas?
So this is going to be, I'll try to explain it simply. Jupiter is very big. So it has one thing of big objects is that they have very strong gravities. So if you keep Jupiter at, okay, let's see. I have this cup and I have this mouse. The cup is bigger than the mouse. So the cup's gravity will be bigger. The cup's influence, let's say, the cup's influence will be bigger. So Jupiter has a very strong influence on the solar system.
Yeah.
So through its influence, it pulls objects away from the inner solar system.
Yeah. Next thing, like what is the nebula? A nebula is a simple thing, like a cloud of gas and dust that are in space. They are like patches.
Yes. Yeah. And there are 2 types of nebulas, actually. There's one nebula where where stars are born. And there's another nebula which is actually after a star dies.
Yeah, like
very fascinating.
Yeah,
it's very fascinating.
So, generally, with like nebula is like a birthplace of stars where there are new stars evolving. So nebula is simple words we can tell us a cloud of dust and gases that are present in the space. Yeah. Like the famous one, if you want to know, can you see in my backdrop, we have our Eagle Nebula. That's like one of the nebulas.
Yes, that is one of the, I think that's what they call, that's the one they call the pillars of creation that's found in the Eagle Nebula.
Yeah, the Eagle Nebula.
Yeah. So now let's see, we have, when all 7 planets are visible on the sky in February 28, will we be able to see them using a 70 mm telescope? So, IDART, unfortunately, as I mentioned, you need a very powerful telescope to see Uranus and Neptune. So, and you won't be able to see those 2 planets with your 70 mm telescope. Also, I do not, again, I'm going to repeat myself, I do not encourage looking for Mercury, especially with a telescope, because that's the surefire way to damage your eyes. Remember, Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. So if you try to see Mercury, you are actually also seeing the sun, and the sun's rays are dangerous for us. There's a reason why we wear solar glasses during a solar eclipse. Now, Nisika, Muhammad Faz
Mm.
is asking, is there any chance to witness an aurora in Chennai skies?
Like based on the cities, auroras like they are particular towards they are place oriented. So auroras actually occur only in the poles, like in the northern poles and the southern poles. We tell the auroras, we know the northern lights and the southern lights. So they are more specific towards the poles where they are more visible because they are like the particles from the sun, the charged particles from the sun that enter the atmosphere, they interact and they form the auroras. That's what we say as the beautiful patterns, like ribbons of light. So, like with the city skies and the pollution and everything, no, it's not possible to witness an aurora over here. But in the poles, it's obvious thing. We can see the northern lights and the southern lights and etc. Yeah.
So I agree that you won't see an aurora, but I think it is actually depends on how active the sun is. So if the sun is very, very active, it's incredibly active, there's a possibility. I'm not saying it's a surefire. It's like it is definitely going to happen, but there's a possibility you may be. But I don't think so, because the peak activity of the sun has just completed, though. So I don't think it's possible for some time at least that an aurora will be seen in Chennai.
Yeah.
So mostly you have to go to the poles to see it. But recently with a recent solar activity, wow, it came very far south than usual.
Yeah.
Then I see one a student is asking, will the planet parade be visible in India? And yes, it will be visible in India. As I mentioned earlier, during the when I was showing Stellarium, yes, it is visible in India.
Like the Mars, the Earth can be seen Mars. Obviously, we can see the Mars. You can see it like an orange dot towards the eastern part. When you look now, you can see like a orange dot. That's how it looks. If you go tonight, also you can see towards like 8 or 8:30. You can see the Mars. Yeah.
Then let's see. How far is the sun from the earth?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. The distance is actually 150 million kilometers. And one more interesting thing is that we have that as a standard measurement thing. We tell it as 1 AU, 1 astronomical unit. That is equal to 150 million kilometers, like how we have a regular scale like centimeters, meters, and etc. Similarly, we tell that 1 astronomical unit, that is 150 kilometers and 150 million kilometers, and that is the distance between the Earth and the Sun. Yeah. We use them to find the distance between the other planets. So the distance is 150 million kilometers.
Yes, and some students is asking again how they can see the planetary parade. Again, you can go to the roof and you can observe the planetary parade from the roof, or you go to an open area where there's very little buildings around and you can observe the planetary parade from that.
One more thing they can do was also, they can install their Stellarium app on the mobile. They can go.
Yes.
It's easier to navigate when they start to use the app. When they just look into the sky and place the mobile, they can know which star or what is the star, it's the planet or not. It will be easier for them because as ma'am already, as Ms. Shruti has already shown the planetary alignment, it will be easier for them to know. Yeah.
Yeah. Then, what is the best time to see the planet parade? So on other days, as I said, you can see it till the end of the month. On other days, the best time to see the planet parade is again shortly after sunset. So there are like around 10 to 15 minutes after the sunset, when the sky is dark, for around 1 hour, it will be the best time to see the sunset. So for example, if the sun sets around 6:30 today, 6:40 till 7:40 is the best time to see it. Otherwise, after that time, Saturn would have set. Saturn will have disappeared beyond the horizon, and you cannot see Saturn anymore. So shortly after sunset is the best time to see the planet parade for the rest of the month.
Okay, I have an interesting question, Shruti ma'am. Why do we see the sky as blue if the space is dark?
So for the sky is blue because we have something very precious to us called the atmosphere. And this atmosphere is actually the reason why the sky is blue. I have repeated myself. So this when the sun's rays comes to Earth, the little molecules in the atmosphere, so little gases in the atmosphere, what they'll do is they will tell the light that I want you to break up. So I want you to move around. And the only light that doesn't get completely disappear in this sky is blue color. So blue color reaches us.
So we can tell, like, due to the presence of the atmosphere and the scattering of light of the
Yes.
sunlight, the sky actually appears blue. And when we go to the space, there is nothing like a sunlight or something to reflect or to observe or everything. So we don't see any light phenomena over there. So we consider the space to be dark. And then over the sky, in the like from the Earth, the atmosphere, the sky is actually blue in color. Yeah. That's a fact, ma'am. Yeah.
Yes. Nisida, could you re-explain what a transit is? One student has asked for that.
Transit. Transit is a thing where there are two, let's consider there are two celestial objects. One is a bigger one and one is a smaller object. So when the smaller object passes in front of the larger one, the bigger one. So from the Earth, if we observe through a telescope, if we observe, it appears like they are passing in front of the bigger object. That is what we tell it as transit of the object. So why do we actually have these transits? Like to know the sizes of the different planets. As I showed you the one like the Sun and the Venus transit. So we'll be able to see the size of the planet compared to the other object and etc. So basically, a smaller object passing in front of a larger one is what we tell it as a transit. Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody, most curious question is, what is the app name? It is Stellarium.
Stellarium.
And shortly, we'll be sharing the link in the chat group. Okay, don't worry. Yeah.
Yeah. So the app's name is Stellarium, and you don't need to see a telescope for the 4 planets. For Mars, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn, you do not need a telescope. So then let's see what other questions we can discuss. Neutron star that collapsed. How can we see planets since they don't produce light, Nasiga?
Yeah, can you just come again? Like,
how can we see planets when they don't give light?
Actually, planets don't give light, they just reflect the light. So we have our sun like a parent star. The Earth, the light that falls on the planets, it actually reflects. So due to that, we are able to see. So like how we are able to see the moon from the Earth? Because it reflects the sunlight. So that's how we are able to see them.
Oh, okay. Then, yeah, someone's asked if we can see a conjunction and planetary parade with our own eyes.
Obviously, that's what you're going to witness tonight.
Yes. So you can actually see it with your own eyes. You don't have to use a telescope to see it.
Yeah.
Then is planet Neptune larger than Earth?
Of course. It's larger than the
So Neptune is actually known as the ice giant, and all planets after the asteroid belt are larger than Earth. You can see Saturn's rings. Yeah. So you can actually see go to the rooftop to see the planets from the planet parade. And Stellarium, you cannot see the rings of Jupiter, Neptune, and Uranus with a telescope. You actually need a very special telescope to see those rings. That is because the rings of the other three planets, Jupiter, Neptune, and Uranus, they do not reflect light very well. So we have to see it in a different wavelength. We have to see it in a different wavelength so that we can see those rings.
yeah. Okay.
Then what else do we see? So again, let me reiterate. You will see the conjunction of Moon, Venus, and Saturn at the east or the west side of the horizon. You can see Jupiter right directly above your head, and you can see Mars on the east side of the horizon. Oh, Jessica,
Your voice is actually glitching. So can you just
okay.
on your side? There's some glitches. There's like there's a chat. There's something like your voice is cracking.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry.
How about my voice, guys? Is it good?
My apologies for that.
I think also the voice is for both of us. Let's
Is it?
yeah.
Okay. So is there by the way, Jessica, is there a voice why does the color of the moon change during the lunar eclipse?
What? Yeah.
Why is the color of the moon change during the lunar
Our
eclipse?
voice is clear now because there's a continuous comment. Just a minute, ma'am. I'll come back to the question. Just need to make sure that is my voice clear or is it breaking still?
Yeah. Can you chat? Can you hear me? Is that fine?
Just give me a minute.
Just give me a second. I just leave the call and I'll come back quickly.
No, like both of our voices are actually glitching, I think, so because they tell the same thing. Let's just see. Yeah, you can come back. You can even come back. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I hope my voice is better now.
I'm able to clearly hear you. Let's just see. In the chat. Students now are able to hear your voice clearly.
Okay, so since I had this issue for like 5 minutes, let's extend our interaction for 5 extra minutes.
Yeah.
Because it took away the time from the students.
Okay, so sorry about that. My apologies. There was an unforeseen technical issue on my end.
Wait. They are not right now. Are we live now?
So, like, my apologies again for that. I don't know what's wrong. So, my apologies for that.
The voice is breaking yesterday. Why? Just a minute. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we are back. I hope we are back. Let's see if we are back. Can anyone hear us?
Is the voice now?
Okay. It looks like I'm having technical issues on my side, which I can't diagnose at this time. So let's we can't continue because of the voice issue.
Yeah. I don't know if it will resolve this or not. So can we just end up the session? Yeah.
So I would sincere apologies about this that our voice is so my voice is breaking at this time. We're not sure why. And we tried, we had hoped it would work, but there seems to be an issue at the side.
For this environment, so like there are some technical issues over here.
Yeah, there's technical issues. I will sincere apologies from our end. But we encourage the students again to go out, see the planetary rays, and
The voice will be obviously taking on your muscle. So you just put a message in the live chat, and then we'll just send them.
okay. Let me try one last thing and see if that works. Let's see if this works. I hope it does.
Do I sound better now?
One minute, just give me a minute.
Yeah, let's see. Let me extend it for 10 more minutes. If this is better, then we'll extend it for 10 more minutes. If not, we will we have to unfortunately conclude the chat. And my sincere apologies for this. I don't know what's going on here. I'll have to look at I will see what's the issue after the live chat. Until now it was going fine, I believe. So we'll get and check if we can do it in if I can be heard.
No, they are not able to resolve the problem. I think so because still our voices are glitching.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's just do one thing and just conclude our end message and we can just wrap up this session. Because obviously they won't be able to see their voices clearly.
Yeah. I'll sincere apologies for this. We are sincere apologies for this.
Yeah.